Yeah, it's been a couple years. Couple years it has been, and I started to notice a odor coming from the bathroom. So again, from the Dometic 300, I did remove the toilet. Again, real simple, two side bolts. Low point drain. Turn off your water, and I open up the low point drains. Turn that off so you guys can hear me. Outside, and open up the spigots a little bit. Let some of that water drain, and that way I have no water coming out of the cold water supply pipe for the toilet. So in looking at it, I noticed, and the way I noticed is that see the ring around the outside here. I noticed that it was started leaking and it was stinky. And so I removed the toilet, and I'll show you the result of that. And I did do kind of a pseudo repair on that toilet. And it worked. It worked. It was about a year after we got the RV in 2018 that we started to notice the issue. And then we went ahead and took the toilet off, and I added, I think it was E6000 to the gasket. And then that lasted a good amount of time, and we went around the whole U.S. and then started to notice it like on our last trip, some stinky. And it appears that the toilet actually came loose a little bit at the center section. I'll show you that. So after removing the toilet, I took the 4 screws out. There's 4 screws that are accessible through the bottom, and they're fairly long screws, and you do need to have an extension. And I think that's a 1/4 inch, if I'm correct. I think these are, these might be 7/16. I don't recall. Anyway, I don't think they're 7/16, but. So I took the 4 bolts out from the bottom after the toilet's removed, laid over, and I noticed the water coming out here. And so again, 4 screws out at the bottom, separate the 2. There's the gasket repair that I did before, and you can see the amount of I don't remember if I used RTV silicone or if I used E6000. It's nasty, by the way. But the issue with this Dometic 300 series, where the defect is in these things, is that the poo water comes down here, it goes to the flush valve, and then goes down into the sewer, right? This edge around here, I'm not touching this. I don't have my gloves on. This edge tends to leak and collect in this little side bowl here, in that side area around there. And then when it gets very high, it leaks through these areas here, which are those areas right there and there, and on the back there and there, and then it leaks under the toilet. And this is typically after traveling for a period of time, so then you'll notice a ring around the bottom. And the water just sits here and just stews over time, just something terrible. Sorry about the sunlight. So it's a big issue, and the problem is it gets in the subfloor typically, especially after a long trip. You get where you're going and you don't enjoy yourself. So in this Dometic series toilet, this leaking into here, this leaking over into the edge, is a design flaw. And I think they have so many of them that they just haven't changed the design. So they're still putting these 300, I think this is a 310 series, still putting it in RVs. So my mission here is I don't have a replacement gasket for the center, and I have guests coming into town. So I'm going to clean up that gasket the best I can. I'm going to clean up this area the best I can, of course with rubber gloves on. And then I'll probably reseal this, reattach it, and this will be my fix for right now. But I did want to do a follow-up video and show what's happening. You can see how much liquid collects in here. It's pretty amazing, and then it again overflows after a period of time. So and there's another hole that goes down. Yeah, there's another hole over here. Wow, I didn't even know about that hole, which allows the liquid to drain down when it reaches a certain point above this screw. Oh, that's messed up. You can still see some of the dew water in there. Anyway, I tell you, not real happy about this. I'm glad that we put out the video, and I'm glad that Dometic has replaced a lot of those toilets for shipping cost, and I guess some added expense, but pretty irritating how bad these things are working. descaled it, cleaned it, bleached it, put the gasket back in. I put some sealant on there, or some lubricant, and it's a valve lubricant. You can't see that, it says plumber's faucet and valve grease by Oatly. Of course, my video's backwards. Yeah, so now we're going to reassemble, but I figured some people were asking me for a video before, and I didn't have it, so here I go. Now I have it. Now I'm going to do it. All right, so everything's been cleaned, and I've got as much of the gunk out of here as I could. I used bleach water to clean all this. There's still some cleaning that has to be done, but now the reason I have gloves on is, you know, I have bleached this, but I'm using this because I'm also going to be using some RTV silicone tub and tile. So we have our gasket here, and this gasket, the gasket has been cleaned. I think I broke this before, so I think that was an issue before, but I think it'll be fine. I think I'm going to put a bead under this and a bead on top of it, maybe even massage it in, and then I'm going to go ahead and set the toilet on, and the screws actually go in from the bottom of the bowl here, so I'll go ahead and put those in and seat them pretty well into those four corners. But then I'm going to probably just leave this and let it sit for at least an hour or two just to seal up before I reinstall the toilet. Then I'm going to try and not have it used for at least the next 12 hours, 24 hours, or somewhere around there. So here we go. Let's go ahead and give this a try. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off, set it aside, go ahead and do a bead of caulking around here. I'm not going to go crazy extravagant, but I am going to make it fairly thick. I do want to have something for it to compress down on, but I'm also going to dress the gasket with some as well, kind of to like get it to suck into it, if that makes sense. So okay, so there's that. There's a good amount around there. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some on this. Not too worried about the table because I can always wipe the table off. Go ahead and put this on. Yeah, I hate touching this stuff because it feels so nasty. But I know that I used enough bleach water to kill any bacteria or anything, but still, I don't like the idea of touching this. But I ran out of rubber gloves, kind of, so. Okay, let's go ahead and I'm going to set this on here. I think I'll go ahead and work this into the gasket while it's sitting on this surface. The one thing I will say, I was going to get a new gasket, and this is the second time I'm doing this. The first time lasted about 4 years before I started to smell anything. I did take it off, so this is the second time. The gaskets have gone up to, Dometic gaskets have gone up to around $50, and I'm just not willing to pay that unless I'm replacing the toilet, putting that money towards that. You know, it's not that I can't afford it, it's just kind of for me a matter of principle. I'm really irritated with Dometic, and yeah, it's kind of pisses me off a little bit here, but especially considering this is the second time that I'm doing it. And I'm just really rubbing this into that surface. I want to keep it off that center area because I know that seal is replaceable, so I don't want that to be glued in place. Alright. I feel like that's pretty good into the surface itself, and then I'm going to go ahead and put another bead around this. And then we'll go ahead and mount this up. Alright. So I mean, pretty pretty significant, right in the crease where the upper part of the toilet sits. I feel like that's a pretty good amount. I feel pretty good about that. I think that's pretty decent. I might go a little wider in these corners, but I don't want to go too much. I want it to seal, but I don't want it to really squirt out all over the place. Yeah, I think I might do the screw holes too, just to seal those up if possible. Okay. So, you know, I mean, I'm not going to try and balance a bead over here. I think that would be silly. These little spots are locator pegs for the pegs over here. So I think that's probably pretty good. All right, and I'll go ahead and put this on, and I'll grab the screw gun, and we'll go ahead and screw this in. And make sure that I'm not twisted around anywhere. I can see that the bead has squished out a little bit there, which is good. Okay, so there's the screws right there. Screw this over a little bit. Okay, so next part is to, and we have to use a long extension to do this, by the way. It's the only way to do it, unfortunately. This is a magnetic extension, so I can kind of guide these into the hole exactly where they need to be. Go ahead and I'm going to just start them. I'm not going to finish them until I actually get all four in place. And I'm just basically kind of threading them in lightly. That makes sense. I'm going to really try to not have this come off into the socket here, because then I have to turn the toilet upside down. Okay. Good. And last one is over here. I don't like having my head this close to a toilet, but it is what it is. At least I did bleach it. It doesn't smell anymore, which is great. Okay. So now that I've got this, I'm going to go ahead and put some pressure on this. And I'm going to do the two opposite corners. I don't want to over torque it. This is an impact. Okay. And the last corner. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look in here. And I do see the bead squishing out a little bit, which is good. That's what I wanted. And I'm going to also check over here, and that actually looks really good. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to give this one more torque. Again, I don't want to over torque. This is plastic. I mean, this unit will tighten up tires, lugs on tires, so you have to be careful. You don't want to over torque anything, and people, I think, tend to over torque a lot of stuff. So I'm going to go, that's plenty, that's way more than plenty, that's way more than plenty. Okay, good. Alright, so I'm going to let this sit and cure up before I reinstall it, and that's pretty much it. There needs to be a donut on here. The existing donut that I replaced from before is still in good condition, so I'm going to use that. But, I mean, that is pretty much it for, the toilet. I have some cleaning to do from other stuff that's gotten on the outside here, but I'll give this a nice shine up, and then hopefully don't have any more problems for at least another couple years. again, I talked to Camping World and said, hey, how much is the gasket? And their answer was, I think it was $49 for the gasket, for that gasket that I just did in the center there. Really irritating considering Dometic knows about this issue. I think if people are willing to repair, they should be offering that gasket for free. I think it's pretty rude to design a defective product that causes damage to, you know, to RVs, and then they want to charge for it. I just think that's silly. But anyway, all right, so there we go. Now I finally got a video on how I did the repair the last time.